Live in my studio is Sujo and Mr. James Sharp. These two folks do business together, and I'll tell you, James Sharp is a guy that is on the move, and really his business is exploding. Now, he thought so much of Sujo and the folks at Model My Home to come in studio and talk about some examples of why it's so important. So really, we're talking to the sellers out there. We're talking to the other agents out there coming to the 21st century and get a professional staging company on board with you, like Model My Home. Go to modelmyhome.com. But really, James, if you would, start telling us about, man, I don't think you'd list a home right now without professionally staging it, would you?
Absolutely not. In fact, I would absolutely not do any of my own personal houses without having the professional service of a professional stager do it. In fact, my last 4 sales personally, I've had them all professionally staged and have all sold within 30 days. And to me, that's first and foremost just kind of solidify and cemented the value of having a professional like Sujo and the Model My Home group.
Sujo, when you have a agent like this gentleman right here and you see the success, doesn't it really make you feel good to know, a non-staged home takes about, in our neck of the woods, about 90 days on the market. That's if you have the price right, all right?
Yes.
Now, along comes the professional staging company, not interior designing company. All right. And now we're cutting that term down to 45 days. And so one of the things I say on the program is that real estate is the backbone of our economy and will correct our upside down economy in time. So how important is it to have good people around you when we're taking somebody in our neck of the woods from what normally would take 90 days and staging, taking it down to 45 days, we're injecting a lot of money back into the economy and getting this great nation back up and running. Wouldn't you say?
Yes, I think it's very important. I think the economy is one of the things, and especially in real estate, when the real estate market failed, that's when our country went into recession really bad. So I think as long as we can keep the real estate market going and keep it as, people moving homes and buying homes, then we can do good.
Yeah.
So I think that, James and I, one of the things is I know that James and I had a home. One of the first homes that we did together, there was a home that had been on the market. James had been on the market for over a year.
Almost 2 years.
Almost 2 years. And James called me about it. It was a vacant home. And I met with he and the homeowner. And the homeowner was not real sure about it. And everything I went through and would talk to him about, he would be like, well, I don't know why I have to do that. I don't know why I have to do that. And I got to kidding with him. And finally he agreed to let us stage the home. And when we staged the home, and it sold in
18 days.
18 days after and he called and he'd given me a really hard time while I was staging the home, and kind of, it was one of those things we kind of jokingly went back and forth, and it was kind of difficult. But after it sold in 18 days, he called me and he said, I just want to tell you, I do not know why my former realtors had never told me to do this. He said, he was so frustrated with the realtors that he'd had before, because he'd been, making 2 mortgages for almost 2 years. Mm-hmm. And he said, staging the home, he said, the first few people came in, it made a world of difference.
Real quickly, if you want to get in a hold of Model My Home and get to know how you as a seller or an agent can move your inventory quickly, reach out to them at 972-733-3435. Again, 972-733-3435. For you investors out there getting ready to come to break, you think that you can buy an investment property and just let it sit there vacant. When we come back, we're going to visit with Jana on the importance of staging an investment property. Friend, you're listening to Real Estate Talk. Oh, real quickly, before I go into that close, I want to say hello to my buddies down at WTIS, 1110 a.m. in Tampa, Florida, covering all of Clearwater, Sarasota, and St. Pete. We are educating you on how to move real estate quickly. Friend, you're listening to Real Estate Talk with Willie Lambright, the absolute best nationally syndicated real estate talk show in the land. If you don't believe me, just ask Elvis. We'll be back in 3. Now, live in my studio is Sujo and my buddy James Sharp. And I'll tell you, they do business together. And James Sharp's a 1%er. We teased it up in the last segment about a lot of investors are out there buying. So you may want to swing this mic around here, Jana. And, you know, they buy investment property and they may buy their own 30 cents on the dollar, maybe dealing with Mark Bloom or somebody like that. And they do all their due diligence. They put that house out there and they think it's going to sell simply because the price is right. Not the case. How important is it for investors, you know? And I know my buddy Dwayne Smart just called y'all up and did a home with y'all. And I understand you got a call off the radio. And they do. So it just keeps going on and on and on. How important it is for investors. And you know, one of the things, James, you can do is endorse this, but investors to stage that home properly also.
Oh, it's huge, you know, and really this is for anyone that has a vacant home on the market, because we know that vacant homes, every imperfection is going to shine. Even if it was an investment property and you went in and redid the home, there's probably a little bit of a flooring issue still. Anything like that, whenever it is vacant, it's going to have odors. It's cobwebs come. People can't decide where to put their furniture. They don't know what room it is. So vacants usually get 20% less than market value, and they take twice as long to sell. So if you're an investor, if you are a seller that's moved out into another city and you're trying to sell a vacant home, these are the issues you're going to come across. So getting some furniture in there, defining the spaces, allowing people to see the potential, and emotionally connecting with them. We're in a visual industry, and they need to see that dream home played out.
Yeah, same principle for investors. I just I can't stress that enough. Sujo?
Yes, sir.
Now, one of the things that we have not talked about, and we're probably going to do this in the next segment, but a lot of people may be getting on the bandwagon right now, and they're going, how much is that going to cost me? All right. And so can we, when we come back here in just a Willie Scotia, all right, can we talk about some of those myths? And I tell you, it's not all bad. It's not that bad.
No, it's not. And we have different options and different plans for everyone.
Yeah.
And I think that I know James has a testimony of one that someone did, and when they ended up closing, they ended up, because they made more over what the asking price, they actually were able to pay for it.
Yeah,
So.
don't sit on the market a long time. Sit on the market a short time. Friend, you're listening to Real Estate Talk with Willie Lambright, and yes, we're going to be back in they ought to bring back the Southwest Conference, Willie Scotia. You know, one of the things that I try to do all the time is hit the relate button, all right? And I do it in unique ways. So one of the things that really that I want people to understand on the selling side and agents to understand, it's very important to stage your home. Talk to me about, real quickly, some success stories, sir. I know we were during the break, you were talking about, I got all kinds of examples to talk about. I want to hear about them. I don't want to hear about them. My communities want to hear about it.
Thanks, Willie. Yeah, the biggest one I had just recently is we had an offer on a house, and then I had a second offer, third offer. After about 6 offers on this house that Sujo had staged for us, I knew we were onto something. It's only been on the market 5 days, folks, and my folks were so ecstatic because they went in kind of reluctantly, wasn't sure what to do. Sujo walked them through here's what we need to do from A to Z, got it all professionally staged. We had professional pictures taken. That house, I could not even get out of the front driveway. I had people call me on it.
So what does something like this cost?
It costs you more not to stage than it does to stage, actually. In this case, these folks returned on their money 106% of what they got on the asking price. In other words, they paid for themselves to stage this several thousand times.
Yeah, well, it would have been on the market a lot longer, and they might not have got full offer price. So, Jana, I'm going to swing the mic around here. Talk the mechanics of, they make the phone call to you, you have your crew go out, all right? A lot of times you got to, in Sean Bone's case, you're going to have to get you a pods out there because you're going to haul some of his filth out of that house, right?
Right.
So
that's part of the process.
Green shag carpet, the Farrah Fawcett posters, all that kind of stuff got to come out. How long does it take to, and I'm just picking on Sean Bone, okay? For those of you who don't know Sean Bone, he's the world's greatest lawn officer. Talk to me about the truck pulls up, you have this conversation with them. Mechanically, how long does it take and what does it cost?
Well, we offer several different services, and I'll touch on these real quickly. One is the consultation, and that is something that we can do for people all over the world. They can send us pictures, they can send us a little bit of video of their home, and we can let them know over the phone what changes they need to make. And usually, if you're doing it over the phone, we're talking $99. That's huge. If we are going out to a home in this local Dallas-Fort Worth area, it'll be $200 for us to come out, give them the game plan of what needs to stay, what needs to go, what needs to be changed. Now, if we are hands-on staging, with an occupied or a vacant, we have several different pricing structures, but it's always, the key formula is it's usually never more than 1 month's mortgage payment.
Yeah, it's usually 0.5% of list price, right?
0.5% of list price is our standard formula. But if you call a stager in your area and they are quoting you more than one mortgage payment, you need to make another call. Get 3 estimates so that you can feel comfortable about what you're paying for.
Yeah, I like the fact that you can also, hear me out when I say this, if it's free, it's for me. They got a little button out there on their website, and it's called, what is it?
It is the free
ready, set list.
That's right.
Yeah, go to modelmyhome.com. I challenge you agents that are down in Tampa. I challenge you agents that are over in Austin. I challenge you agents that are in New Mexico. Go out to this website. It's going to help you move your product quicker, and I fully endorse it as the host of this program. And I'll tell you, Model My Home is the largest staging company in the United States. I can safely say that. They have forgotten more than I'll ever know when it comes to moving property correctly. So all you sellers out there, all your agents, at the end of the day, if it's not getting sold, it's not getting moved, you're not putting money on your hip. Go out to modelmyhome.com, the largest staging company in the country. When we come back, I will close out the program. So anyway, you're listening to Real Estate Talk with Willie Lambright. Once again, the absolute best nationally syndicated real estate talk show in the land. And we'll be back in, regulators, let's ride. Willie's Coach.